When I say the word routine, was an evening routine the first thing to come to mind? Probably not, which is why this video is needed. Now, if you are as much of a Friends fan as me, then you might have thought of the routine. Other than that, the first thing that came to mind was probably a morning routine, because morning routines are everywhere. As a society, we are obsessed with morning routines because we're obsessed with mornings. And that's another conversation for another day that is partially had in my productivity hacks video. But today, I specifically want to talk about the part of establishing a morning routine that usually goes unsaid. You need a good nighttime routine first. That's right, the song from Smash was right. We need to start tomorrow tonight. God, I loved Smash. So let's talk about evening routines. Let me know in the comments below if you have one, and if you do, what it is. And while we're sidebarring, I guess I should say hello, I am Brittany. I am the founder of WorkBrighter, and this channel is all about helping you escape hustle culture and find a better balance between productivity and self-care. Sidebar over. So why are evening routines important anyway? The mindset behind optimizing your morning routine is that it sets a good foundation for the rest of the day. Fair enough. However, my gripe with this advice, along with most other advice in the world of Work Smarter, is that it doesn't actually tell the full story or dive deep to the root of the problem. Like, yeah, sure. It's true that if you want to have a good day, having a good morning can help. But, that advice doesn't take into consideration how freaking hard it is to have a good morning. It's easier to try to have a good night instead. Especially if you're not practicing energy management regularly, waking up is hard. Most of us are sleep deprived. That's our reality. And whether your wake up call in the morning is an alarm, your kids, your pets, the sun, or your own body, that wake up call usually comes far too soon. So expecting perfection right out of the gate like that is just unrealistic expectations. So not only will an evening routine make that morning routine you want easier, if you want one, but it's just also gonna help you sleep better on its own. As the Smash song goes, start tomorrow tonight. Because if you do want a productive or optimized morning routine, which by the way is totally optional, but if you do, you'll wanna wake up energized. To wake up energized, you want to sleep well. And to sleep well, you want a good evening routine. It all links together. When I first started getting my self-care together, I was self-employed and I could make the decision not to work mornings. And so having a good morning routine wasn't really something I was concerned with. But I was sleeping horribly and I was sick all the time, so I really wanted to work on my sleep hygiene. Enter the evening routine. And over the trial and error since then, here is the evening routine that I came up with for myself. Around 11 p.m., I will turn down some of the overhead lights to quote unquote fake the sunset. This is a tactic from the book Make Time, where you intentionally start lowering the light bit by bit as it gets closer to bedtime. I also turn my devices to dark mode and lower the brightness, but that happens automatically, so technically I don't do it, it just happens. And I also put on blue light blockers. I am not yet willing to go screen free before bed, but I do try to dim the harsh lighting as much as possible. At midnight, I stop working. Like I said, I don't work mornings. Instead, I work nights, and my peak creative and productive hour is around 11 p.m. So by cutting off work at midnight, that gives me a good amount of time to work in that zone without staying up too late. So after that, I will turn down more lights. I will go grab a snack so that I can take my nighttime medications, and then I will take them, and along with them some melatonin. While the melatonin kicks in, I will read. Sometimes that is a blog post or articles, sometimes that is a book, and a lot of times recently it has been notes from books I've already read. And then by 1 a.m. the melatonin is kicking and I'm starting to feel tired and it's my bedtime. Learning time is over, so I will put on a short, lighthearted podcast, usually that day's Pop Culture Happy Hour, which is my favorite and the first podcast I ever started listening to. And while I listen to that, I reset the room, just like doing a quick tidy of my workspace and the main living area. And then I get ready for bed in the bathroom, and by the time I finish up with that, the podcast is usually over, and the melatonin is kicked in enough that I can fall asleep pretty easily. So at that point, I will hop in bed, turn on a sitcom that I've seen a million times before, so that I'm not tempted to like open my eyes and pay attention. And I'm usually asleep by the time Alexis Rose says ew 5 times. For non-Schitt's Creek watchers, that means about 15 minutes. But I get that this routine isn't for everyone. I am a night owl with no obligations to wake up early. It is a lucky and unique situation. But what if you are a morning person? What if you are not a morning person but have to wake up at 6 a.m. anyway? Your routine is gonna be different from mine. So here are some ideas for more habits that you can add to your evening routine to make it nice and full of self-care. Pick, choose, and experiment to find what works for you. The 2 general rules I like to give for planning your evening routine is focused on what would make the rest of the night or that first hour tomorrow easier than it usually is. So keep that in mind as you pick what you might want to try. The first idea is faking the sunset, like I mentioned earlier. Like I said, this term specifically is from Make Time, but honestly, the idea of turning the lights lower and letting it get darker in your home as it gets closer to bed is a pretty common tactic. This is just about kind of doing it more intentionally and proactively before the lights are so bright that they hurt your eyes. And it's kind of turning it into a symbolic act or ritual of shutting down for the day. And you can level up this evening routine idea with some nice relaxing mood lighting, like maybe changing the color or tone of the lights. You can also grab some blue light blockers like I do if you're going to keep using screens. And if you have any smart home automation stuff, you might be able to automate turning the lights down low, which I wish I could do. The second idea is to stretch your body, and I would really encourage this if you are spending most of your day sitting in the same position, which, let's be real, a lot of us are. So a good stretch before bed will help loosen you up. There are lots of free YouTube videos that you can watch with great stretching routines. I prefer the more holistic, like wiggle to figure out what muscles are tight and then just stretch until they feel right. That rhymes, I should keep that. The third evening routine idea I have for you is to go screen free. Just because I'm not willing to do it yet doesn't mean it might not be perfect for you. Maybe it is exactly what you need. So setting a time to turn off all of your screens and do some screen free hobbies or activities is a great habit to cultivate. Or if you choose not to do that, like me, make sure you are turning down the brightness or the blue light on the screens you still use. Number 4 is to reset the room, another habit that I mentioned above. To me, resetting the room involves 2 things: a quick tidy of the clutter that I've made that day and prepping my workspace for the first thing I'm gonna do in the morning. The 2 activities can happen simultaneously, but more importantly, they go really well together, because if I tidy without setting up my workspace, that's just one more thing to do in the morning. If I set up my workspace without tidying, then I just continue working in clutter, and that's an issue for me. And another great self-care evening routine idea is to journal. You know I love journaling. Another sort of pair of habits that will go together well are reflecting on the day that just finished and planning for the one that's about to happen tomorrow. It's a great time to reflect on what happened, track any progress towards your goals or any habits that you want to do, and just empty out your brain so that your mind isn't racing as much when you go to hop into bed. The next evening routine idea you might want to try for your self-care is meditation. If you just want to cultivate a meditation habit, bedtime is a great time to do it because you're already sort of in the right environment. You're laying down, it might be silent, it might be dark, so that's just a great time to meditate. And then also, if you tend to lay awake with your mind racing like I used to, then meditating along with that brain dumping that I just mentioned before might be really helpful for helping with that. And the final suggestion that I have is one that I am actually working on cultivating this year. And this is a slow, mindful personal hygiene routine. I'm not saying I don't have a personal hygiene routine, I just want to make it more relaxing and enjoyable. I just love the idea of getting ready for bed with a nice pamper. This might be using products with your favorite scent so that when you go to hop into bed, it's all around you. It might be taking a hot shower or bath to help unwind and loosen you up. Or it might just be doing the usual brushing your teeth and other bare minimum, a little bit slower and more relaxed. So those are my favorite options and suggestions when it comes to adding self-care to your evening routine. But now I want to hear from you. What does your evening routine currently look like? What do you want it to look like? And are you going to try any of the suggestions that I just mentioned? Let me know in the comments below and hit subscribe if you want more videos on self-care habits and routines. We publish new videos every week, so if you're in a marathon mood, you might want to check out this video on energy management next. Bye-bye and have a brighter week.